everybody, welcome back. First off, thank you so much for all the views on the spechtsohne aquanaut video. This is probably the best first week I've had on a video. So on that note, I do want to talk about that watch more. I do want to do a little dive into here. My first week with the watch, kind of like a week on the wrist like I did in the previous video with the Casio. And then I want to compare this to the other Aquanaut that I bought, the lgxige one. That video also did really well, so I think it's going to be cool to compare these two. So first off, the first week with this spechtsohne, I'm blown away by it. It's an incredibly comfortable watch. It looks incredible on the wrist. The orange is incredible. I've had multiple people stop me and ask me about it. I don't really have that with any other watch I own. Rolex, any other thing, doesn't really get too much feedback. This, I've had multiple people stop, and I doubt they know what a Patek is, so I don't think they're thinking that it's that. I think they're just genuinely curious because it looks really cool. There's been no real issues with the watch. As some people pointed out, the 60-second running chronometer on the bottom, chronograph, yeah, it's kind of stupid. There's no use for it. I haven't used it, but as a quartz watch, it keeps great time. It's super comfortable. I'll put this on and I forget that I'm wearing it. That's how comfortable it is to me. I've worn it everywhere. I was even going to bring it in the ocean. I live by the beach, and I was going to bring it in the ocean, and I decided not to just because I have some other plans for this watch. Someone else may be getting it also. But I didn't want to do that. But I was comfortable doing it. The crown doesn't screw down, I know that. But I was so comfortable wearing it that I was like, screw it, let's do it. But this, it's absolutely blown me away. I would strongly recommend everybody get one of these. They have lots of different colorways. Find one that fits what you're looking for and pounce on it because it's so cheap and it's so worth it. This week has been the most enjoyable first week with a watch that I think I've had in an incredibly long time. So definitely grab one of these. And now I do want to do a little comparison between the two Aquanaut budget watches that I have and really see which one's the winner. I have my opinion already, I think, but I want to see if I can back that up. So obviously there's differences between the case sizes. There are definitely minute differences, but you could tell the overall shape is different. This is a much more kind of understated. This one you could see the drop off from the bezel, and it kind of has this lip that goes down to the case, where this is just kind of a straight edge. It's hard, it's slanted. I also feel like the shape is kind of different on this one than it is on the spechtsohne. But let's take a minute here, and I'm going to give you guys the actual dimensions because I found my calipers, and I'm finally going to use them in a video. It's only taken 3 years, but let's do it. Alright, so here we go. The actual case thickness of the spechtsohne is... Let's get this nice and tight. It's right around 11.5 millimeters thick, which is comfortable. Let's see what the lgxige is. It is also about 11.5 thick. It's very, very minutely thicker. Obviously, the spechtsohne has a chronograph, so it has 2 extra pushers. So I'm going to measure it in between the crown to the other side of the case to get an actual case thickness here. So straight across, we're looking at around a little over 41 millimeters. And on the lgxige, we're looking at 42.5 about. So this watch does wear slightly smaller. They are both 21 millimeter bands. I'm not going to measure that. I know that for a fact. But I did, while I was wearing it, feel like this fit more comfortably. And I've always thought that this was such a comfortable watch. And I didn't really know that it was slightly bigger until I put this on, and this just wore so much nicer. And now I know why, because it's slightly smaller. The big difference that I'm going to give it is, and it's not even really a difference, but the clasp on the lgxige is much better. It shuts much better. I believe they're probably the exact same clasp. Doesn't have a gap in it like the spechtsohne does, and it just is all around a better clasp. But they're definitely the same exact clasp made by the same people. You can even see the bracelets are basically the same. The lgx, sorry, I've been saying that wrong the whole time, has the gaps filled in, which the orange one, they're all empty, but the brands are exactly the same. These are the same rubber straps, so they wear almost identical. But overall, size-wise, the spechtsohne wears a little truer to the Aquanaut, and I think the case just looks a little better. I didn't even realize how sloped this one was until I put it next to the spechtsohne. But yeah, in terms of overall appearance and size, the spechtsohne is a big winner. Price-wise, the spechtsohne is about $30 to $40 more expensive. You are obviously paying for that chronograph function in it. I don't know if that's worth the extra money. They're both almost identical when it comes to the watch, the components, everything about them. So price-wise, I am going to have to give the older one, the lgx, the win on that. Just because it's a little cheaper. It was like $35. Obviously, inflation may have caught up. I haven't seen them on AliExpress in a while, but it was a cheaper watch. So I'm going to have to give that the win when it comes to overall price efficiency, because it's about half the price, and it's, aside from cosmetics and size, it's basically the same exact watch. The only other thing I could really think the judge of these on is, quality, detail, quality control, that kind of stuff. And they're as I've shown previously, they're almost identical. The faces, I think, are the exact same, minus, having the chrono added, the name change, and the different colored hands. It looks like the numbers are all identical. The way they're spaced out are identical from what I can tell. There may be the slightest thickness in the hour markers, not the numbers, but the actual markers around the outside. That's slightly different. It's hard to tell with the naked eye. So because of that, it's basically a tie for me. And I think ultimately when it comes down to it, the only difference is the price and the size. But I do think that the comfort of the spechtsohne outweighs the $30 price difference. So to me, I think the clear winner, and that is what I thought it was going to be from the beginning, is the spechtsohne. It's an incredible watch. The price point, I think, is still, even though you're comparing it to another watch that's $35, I think it's still incredibly reasonably priced at under $75. I think I got it for around $60. It wears great. Maybe your class will be different. If not, they're very easy to replace. I see them all over the place. I'll probably replace this at some point with a slightly better one. But that's just a minor little tweak. The actual band, the case, the watch itself is great, and I think it's the clear winner in this battle between these budget Aquanauts. So definitely go and find yourself either one of them, honestly, but I would strongly recommend the spechtsohne, and I think you're going to be very, very happy with it. And I'll see you guys next time with, hopefully something that does as well as these videos did, because you guys are eating this up. So thank you very much, and I'll see you guys all next time.